This is QTV Nightly News, which is also on Q Radio 103.3 FM. I am Amudu Gajiga and thank you for joining us. First, here are the headlines. As the nation prepares to mark its 61st independence anniversary, government officials held a briefing to highlight key achievements and outline upcoming national priorities. Police in the North Bank region have intercepted 89 people during a targeted night operation aimed at tackling irregular migration and related crimes. A lorry caught fire near the Coastal Road flyover at Old Yundum on Saturday afternoon, creating a dramatic scene that lasted into the early evening. The 2026 Chinese Spring Festival in the Gambia welcomed the Year of Fire Horse, a rare zodiac symbol appearing once every 60 years, featuring vibrant cultural displays and high-energy kung fu performances. In international news, African heads of state and government have concluded the 39th ordinary session of the Assembly of the African Union in Addis Ababa, wrapping up 2 days of high-level discussions. Those were the headlines, now the news in detail. Welcome and thank you for joining us. This is QTV News. As the nation prepares to mark its 61st independence anniversary, government officials convened a press briefing to update the public on key achievements recorded over the past year and to outline priority objectives for the months ahead. Man Nabukar has the rest of that story.
Dr. Ismaila Ceesay, Minister of Information, Media and Broadcasting Services, announced that the Gambia has reached 90% electricity access, electrifying 719 communities and launching solar projects for 1,000 schools and 100 health centers. The milestone has earned commendation from ECOWAS and marked the Gambia as the first nation in the sub-region to achieve this electrification target.
The President made a promise that by the end of the year we'll have 90%. He's already fulfilled that promise. The 10% will come. It's on course. Very soon it will come. I cannot tell you exact, but what I can tell you is that rest assured that all communities in the Gambia will be electrified. If you don't have it now, you'll have it very soon. That I can assure you.
The briefing also highlighted a major shift toward digital governance, as the Department of Immigration ends cash payments for national ID cards and residential permits at its Kanifing and Banjul centers. Applicants must now pay through designated commercial banks and present the receipts at the centers for processing, a key step in modernizing public financial management. When asked how this would affect the rural population, the minister had this to say.
They are challenging, but it's possible, because if you are in the rural area, you can always get someone to pay it for in urban Gambia. We all have relatives in urban Gambia. They can just go online and just fill the form and just make the payment for at any bank. But I think we are moving digital. The whole world is moving digital. I think we should also allow rural communities also move along with us. If we just say they cannot access it, then there will be no development. But it's to ensure that we have systems in place to ensure they also come along and make. I think the debate should be, how do we support them to adapt to these new changes?
On justice and rehabilitation, President Adama Barrow exercised his prerogative of mercy, granting pardons to 56 male inmates from Mile 2 State Central Prison. Responding to concerns over the gender composition, Information Minister Ismaila Ceesay said the decision followed a rigorous, transparent review by a committee of religious and legal leaders, with selections based strictly on conduct and offense categories. On infrastructure, Information Minister Ismaila Ceesay reported that over 1,200 kilometers of roads have been completed since 2017, with nearly 900 kilometers more planned for 2026. He added that investments in youth and women, education and health continue to expand, with the national ambulance fleet nearly tripling to 170 vehicles and major hospitals undergoing renovation.
We started new units, urology unit, cardiology unit, all these units at the EFSTH. We've also invested over $3.1 million in equipment alone on the healthcare sector. On the education, we built over 6,000 classrooms and over 400 schools within this very short period to expand education access to rural communities as well. Youth and women enterprise for 95 million has been disbursed to date. Entrepreneurship, 117 million to set aside to train and fund 2,240 women. We have also invested a lot in building new universities, the USET one in Brikama, and also to promote skills among young people. We've built a lot of vocational training centers. Some are specialized, some are multipurpose.
As the country prepares to celebrate its 61st Independence Day, Dr. Cisse has called on citizens to take pride in the progress made, noting that through unity and collective effort, the nation has overcome long-standing skepticism to emerge as one of West Africa's most stable and fastest-growing economies. Mamna Buka, reporting for QTV News.
Now, as the Muslim world prepares for the holy month of Ramadan, anytime from now, we get the signals from the Supreme Islamic Council. We will connect you live because they have a very important announcement to talk about Ramadan. Police in the North Bank region have intercepted 89 people during a targeted night operation aimed at tackling irregular migration and related crimes. The operation was carried out on February the 16th, 2026 by the Anti-Crime Unit. Here is Usman Jatta.
Officers conducted patrols across Bara, SO and Sami following credible intelligence about suspicious gatherings in Sami. At a compound in Sami, officers found a group of individuals assembled under circumstances believed to be linked to an attempted irregular migration. Some people fled on seeing the officers, but 89 individuals were apprehended and taken to SO Model Police Station for screening and processing. Preliminary checks indicate the group includes foreign nationals from various West African countries. During the operation, officers recovered 57 smartphones, 3 basic mobile phones, 9 power banks, and 1 Bluetooth speaker. The items have been secured as part of ongoing investigations. Police say those confirmed as migrants will be handed over to the Gambia Immigration Department for appropriate administrative action in line with immigration laws. Investigations are continuing to identify and arrest any agents or facilitators suspected of organizing the activity. The Gambia Police Force has thanked communities in the North Bank region for their cooperation and reaffirmed its commitment to safeguarding lives and preventing dangerous irregular migration journeys. In January, the government of the Gambia confirmed a boat capsize of Jinak in the North Bank region involving over 200 suspected irregular migrants. 96 people were rescued, several bodies recovered, and others remain missing. The incident prompted President Barrow to address the nation on migration dangers and government measures to curb them. Authorities say operations will continue across the region as part of broader efforts to dismantle migration networks, strengthen border security, and protect vulnerable individuals from undertaking life-threatening irregular journeys. Osman Jatta, QTV News.
A dramatic scene unfolded close to the Coastal Road flyover at Old Yundum late Saturday afternoon and into the early evening when the driver's cabin engulfed in flames. More in this report by Yafatuke.
QTV's editor-in-chief, Ade Darami, was one of the residents alerted in the early evenings on Saturday by a commotion and told to move his car as a truck was on fire. On closer inspection, it turned out to be the driver's cabin of an articulated lorry, which had caught fire, the flames of which seemed to rapidly engulf the whole cabin. The fire happened on one of the roads parallel to Battle Haydn Highway and about 150 meters from the Coastal Road flyover. Most of the premises are businesses, with mainly hardware stores selling building materials such as cements and iron rods, among other things. Store workers and passerby, having persuaded other vehicle owners to move their vehicles, then set about trying to douse the flames. At first, they did so by hooking up a water hose to the tap outside Mr. Abdunjai's residence, and later took buckets of sand from outside the same residence to throw onto the flames. After about an hour of doing so, by which time thick smoke was billowing across the road, attracting curious onlookers, 2 fire engines arrived, initially met with some hostility. They succeeded in completely extinguishing the flames. We asked some of those who had been shouting at the fire service officials why they had been doing so. They claimed it was because of their late arrival. However, no one could admit how long it took before they had called the fire service, who seemed to have been very professional in their approach. The young driver of the truck was so shaken by the ordeal to speak to us, but onwards we managed to speak to Goro Ture, an eyewitness who gave a brief account of what he saw.
Someone passing by alerted us that there was a fire under the vehicle and that something was burning beneath it. I quickly rushed over with the apprentice and we discovered that the truck was on fire. We immediately disconnected the battery and the fuel line leading to the tank in an attempt to stop the flames. We used a fire extinguisher, but it was not sufficient to put out the fire. Other people came to assist and began throwing sand into the flames to help extinguish them. We suspected the fire was caused by an electrical short circuit.
The owner of the truck asked his secretary, Mohammed Drame, to speak to us.
The car was just parking. Very suddenly, we see flames coming from the vehicle. So suddenly we called the fire service. Suddenly, before they reach, at least most of it has already burned. It's only the front side. So they came, they did their job actually. At the conclusion, they put down the fire.
Local residents and store owners nearby have a combination of speedy action by local and passerby and the fire service to thank for averting what could have been a potentially serious incident had the flames reached the vehicle's petrol tank. Reporting for QTV News, this is Yafatigay.
The 2026 Chinese Spring Festival began on Tuesday, 17 February, ushering in the Year of the Fire Horse, a powerful zodiac symbol that appears only once every 60 years. At the Serekunda East Mini Stadium, the Chinese Embassy in the Gambia celebrated the occasion with vibrant cultural displays and kung fu performances. Usman Jatta reports.
Known in China as Shunji, the Spring Festival, widely called Chinese New Year, signals the start of the new year under the traditional Chinese lunisolar calendar. While it originated in China, the celebration is observed across East and Southeast Asia, including Vietnam and Korea, as well as by Chinese communities worldwide. It is a season of renewal, a time of families to come together, reflect on the past year, and look forward with hope and optimism for the year ahead. In the Gambia, the festivities showcase a lively fusion of Chinese and Gambian culture, where the rhythmic pulse of local drums intertwined with the precise movements of Shaolin Kung Fu, captivating and thrilling the audience. The Flex Fusion dance group and other performers captivated the audience, embodying the spirit of the fire horse, strength, resilience and forward momentum. Zhao Shangsheng, the deputy head of mission at the Embassy of the People's Republic of China in the Gambia, conveyed a message on behalf of Ambassador Lu Jin.
Festival celebration, we do consider this as a very important move to foster the understanding between our two peoples at the very basic level, at the very grassroots, at the very community, at the very city, at the very village. So we need to do more, and we need to work together with our friends in the Gambia.
President Adama Barrow extended his congratulations to Xi Jinping as China celebrates the Year of the Horse. As the Gambia readies to celebrate its 61st independence anniversary, President Xi Jinping extended his best wishes to President Adama Barrow and the Gambian people, reaffirming ongoing partnership and development cooperation between the two nations. Aliou Ba, President of the Gambia Kung Fu Wushu Federation, praised the growing popularity of martial arts in the country. Ibrahim Amani represented the Ministry of Youth and Sports.
The fundamental principle of Kung Fu is to put in discipline to those young ones, train them on how to contribute to national development, train them how to compose themselves.
At the ministry, we put athletic welfare at the center of development, improving infrastructure to support sporting disciplines.
The Spring Festival spans 15 days, culminating on 3rd March 2026 with the Lantern Festival, a spectacular finale celebrated with illuminated displays and festive community gatherings. This year's Spring Festival Gala in China featured AI storytelling and a digital display of 8 galloping horses celebrating the fire horses' spirit. Drone shows replace fireworks in major cities, symbolizing strength, perseverance and hope for the year ahead. Osman Jatta, QTV News.
With that report by Osman Jatta, we will now go for a commercial break, and when we return we have more national and international news stories. Do stay. Welcome back and thank you very much if you're just joining us. This is QTV News. The National Assembly of the Gambia Business Committee on a strategic study tour of the Parliament of Malawi aimed at strengthening legislative cooperation and improving parliamentary procedure. Alusise reports.
The Gambia's delegation, led by Speaker Fabakary Tombong Jatta and Clerk Khalifa Membai, arrived in Lulungue on Sunday. The visit officially commenced Monday with a high-level courtesy call on the Speaker of the Malawi Parliament, Sami Suleiman. According to the Parliament's Communication Unit, discussions focused on enhancing cooperation between the two parliaments, refining parliamentary processes, and improving committee operations through shared experience and best practices. Members of the delegation also held technical sessions with the Deputy Speaker and Clerk of the Malawi Parliament to examine the operational and administrative systems that support effective lawmaking. Speaker Fabakary Tombong Jatta said Malawi was chosen because of its innovation and excellence in parliamentary and committee work. Speaker of the Malawi Parliament, Sami Suleiman, said the visit strengthens interparliamentary ties and allows both legislatures to extend perspectives to build more responsive institutions. The Gambian delegation is expected to observe proceedings in the chamber and hold consultations with party leaders, whips and committee chairpersons. The outcomes of the tour are expected to lay the foundation for long-term institutional cooperation and deeper professional exchange between two parliaments. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
From that report by Aliou Cisse, coming up next is international news. African heads of state and government have concluded the 39th ordinary session of the Assembly of the African Union in Addis Ababa, wrapping up 2 days of high-level discussions on peace, institutional reform, and continental development priorities. Here is Yafatou Gay.
The summit, held at the AU headquarters, marked the transition of leadership from Angola's President João Lourenço to Burundi's President Evariste Ndayishimiye, who assumes the chairmanship of the African Union for 2026. Leaders also launched the 2026 AU Team of the Year, ensuring sustainable water availability and safe sanitation systems to achieve the goals of Angola 2063. On peace and security, the Assembly voiced concerns over precedent conflicts, terrorism, unconstitutional changes of government and humanitarian crises in parts of the continent. Heads of states reaffirmed zero tolerance for unconstitutional power changes and reiterated their commitment to silencing the guns in Africa. They also stressed the need for predictable and sustainable financing for AU-led peace support operations and strengthened coordination through the African Standby Force. The Assembly reviewed progress on institutional reforms, reaffirming its goal of building a more efficient, accountable and financially sustainable union. Leaders adopted reports from key AU organs, including those related to health, governance, trade and UN Security Council reform, affirmed Angola's 2063 as Africa's blueprint for inclusive growth, highlighting advances in agriculture and the African Continental Free Trade Area. Leaders emphasize infrastructure, climate resilience, youth and women empowerment, and digital transformation as drivers of the continent's future. The session concluded with the adoption of decisions and appreciation to the government and people of Ethiopia for hosting the summit. Reporting for QTV News, this is Yafatu Gay.
Now, before we end this news bulletin, here is a recap of our main news headlines. As the nation prepares to mark its 61st independence anniversary, government officials held a briefing to highlight key achievements and outline upcoming national priorities. Police in the North Bank region have intercepted 89 people during a targeted night operation aimed at tackling irregular migration and related crimes. A lorry caught fire near the Coastal Road flyover at Olyundum on Saturday afternoon, creating a dramatic scene that lasted into the early evening. The 2026 Chinese Spring Festival in the Gambia welcomed the Year of Fire Horse, a rare zodiac symbol appearing once every 60 years, featuring vibrant cultural displays and high-level kung fu performances. And in international news, African heads of state and government have concluded the 39th ordinary session of the Assembly of the African Union in Addis Ababa, wrapping up 2 days of high-level discussions. And just before we end this news bulletin, we can update you that the Supreme Islamic Council have a very important announcement as the Muslims Ummah around the world approach the holy month of Ramadan. We will connect to them live anytime from now. That's it for QTV News at this moment. Thank you very much for watching, but join us again at 10 for another news bulletin.